This love is a blaze, I saw flames from the side of the stage and the fire.
A very good morning to you all, and a very happy Christmas. That was rubbish. Pantomime mode. Very happy Christmas to you all. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Okay, so for the next 20 or so minutes, I'd like to take you on a bit of a journey over the last year and also a few months before that as well. And we're going to start separating fact from fiction and showing you exactly what these fantastic products within the sports and mobility range can really do. So one of my philosophies of life, when trying anything new, anything exciting, and anything, it's my daughter, trying anything that slightly steps us out of our comfort zone into the excitement zone, is go as far as you can and then go a little further. And when you get to the end of that sentence, you repeat it. Go as far as you can, go a little further. Keep doing it. Okay, so the story title itself is Injury, Rehabilitation, Back to Full Fitness and Beyond. The Beyond bit is going to feature a little bit later in the presentation. However, in 2013, in February, there was a bit of a starting point, which was the injury side. So just have that in your mind. A little bit about my background. I think it's important just to know from the philosophy side where I'm coming from and looking at these products and also working towards achieving more and more and more through the right support, right products at the right time. So from the sports science, sports medicine side, I went on one of the trainings with David Urch and Peter Atherton, all about aloe, and it was phenomenal. I was so inspired that I asked David Urch through an email later on about the herbal medicine qualification he's got. So I decided to undertake it so I'd have a nice balance of a scientific side and also an unconventional side in terms of medicine. And going through a few of those other background points as well, and the last one there, which will feature later as well, is also planning and taking trips all around the world, Kazakhstan, Tanzania, Peru, lots of different places. I wanted to put this particular slide up because I do feel it's important that the opinions and the images, the testimonial I'm giving you today is my own. As much as I've tried to align it with the Forever core policy and core image and core messages, it's important to understand that Forever and I have worked together and I'm not a doctor. Now, this one slide is pretty much a summary of everything that should be in the tool bag of anyone that enjoys anything to do with the outdoors or exercise. It's very, very important, in my opinion, that we take a holistic approach of not just looking at forever naturally inspired supplements, but also common sense values: food, sleep, water, exercise, the nutritional supplements, which are important for me, and also the right equipment, the right professional support, stretching, training regimes, and also, most importantly, attitude. Because the slogan at the top, dream, plan, do, review, and never give up, should always be on a circular mission throughout your head constantly. So this is a little insight for those of you that want to maybe go and speak with gym owners or athletes or amateur athletes, just to be able to communicate through. So, 2013, February, I had a back injury, a very serious back injury. And during that time, I was told that I'd never be able to run again. I'd be in chronic pain that would need to be managed through pharmaceutical care. And I may have to go into traction as well. So I was pretty down in the dumps, very under the weather, and not very happy at all. So my morale was dipping. However, I decided that even though it was very shocking news, I was going to take that shocking news and I was going to apply it to my philosophy of dream, plan, do, review, and never give up, and see what happens. Just see how it goes. So then I got back on the training side and was working hard and not making a, oh no, I can't say that, but you know what sort of bird that is. And just working very, very hard, making sure that I had the right professional support, the right exercise training regime, the right physio care, and making sure that everything was in place so I could achieve what I wanted to do. Remember, injury, rehabilitation, back to full fitness and the beyond bit. The beyond bit was something I wanted to explore. And I got another injury. I got a grade 2 calf tear, and that was just rubbish. Yeah, so anyway, back to the old slogan, dream, plan, do, review, never give up. And I was getting there. So pretty much 4 months after the injury occurred, I had decided after the injury, when I started training again, getting the right advice and help, that I wanted to do the first sprint triathlon 4 months after I was told I'd never be able to run again, because that was my dream part, and then I was going to throw it into the mix and not give up. So we can apply that kind of attitude, anything we do in life. And then 4 months later, it was the Northwest Triathlon, and it worked. So that was great. Now, what I didn't mention were the extra goodies, the naturally inspired supplements that Forever had in the product range. Now, that was one of my core tools in my tool bag to rely on during the whole process of injury, rehabilitation, back to full fitness, and getting to the beyond bit. So I really started to look into what the sport and mobility product range was in order to support a strong immune system, recondition my digestive system so I could allow my gut to do its job, which is basically to absorb as many nutrients as possible, and that would feed into everything else that I needed. So through using RG Plus and Forever Freedom, and some other products as well, which I'll mention in a minute, that was a superb benefit to help me healing and my recovery, and also my motivation and being able to get back on it after the injury. I felt pretty good. I saw this picture, had no idea what it was actually intended for, but I thought, no, that is exactly how I felt. And if any of you have had an injury where it's taken you out of something you love, and then you've all of a sudden found these wonderful tools that you can apply, such as the Forever naturally inspired product range within the sports mobility side, it's just it's a dream come true. So at this point, I went back to the neurosurgeon, went back to the orthopedic surgeon and my GP, and just watched them watch me just doing some exercises in front of them, running on the spot. And I'm going, I'm not taking any pharmaceutical drugs at all, or any other illegal substances, and doing this in front of you, but I just wanted to show you that there is hope. There is other opportunities, and I think if we approach any problem with a holistic view, it will enable us to be able to latch onto and always have hope to carry on. Right then, so this is pretty much what I've just explained. That's the actual story of what happened in 2013. Now, the last two, November and December, I decided after the sprint triathlon, no, I need to, these products are too good to be missed out an opportunity to see what happens. And also, I was building my confidence back up, emotionally and mentally and physically, and things started to go pretty well. And after I had recovered from my leg injury and the sprint triathlon went well, I decided to run a trail half marathon carrying 62 pounds, simply because I thought, well, we've got road runners, we've got trail runners, we've got some other incredible people, but let's mix it up. Let's have a bit of fun and see what our bodies can really do in complement with the right tools for the right job. And then in December, and that went okay. That was good. And the back was good, so I was very happy about that. And then in December, there was the 10,000 set endurance event as well. So that's pretty much 300 sets of press-ups, sit-ups, squats, lunges, knee-ups. 100 every 3 minutes, continuously for 6 hours. And the great thing about it was there was another guy doing it with me, and he brought his bag of jelly babies and all sorts of other stuff in, and I had my bag with Forever products in, and he looked at me and said, oh, you know, what have you got in your bag? And I said, oh, well, I don't know, what have you got in your bag? So we had a little look, and he looked at me, and he's sort of looking around going, yeah, what an idiot. Yeah, it's not going to work. So I had a little wager with him, and I said, okay, if I carry on for the 6 hours and achieve the 10,000 sets, and you don't, purely based on the fact I have this product regime, and by the way, it was just the Forever product range with water. So I'd carefully selected and applied appropriately. And I think that's a very important value when communicating the naturally inspired supplements with Forever to anybody. Anyway, 6 hours later, I'd done it, and he hadn't. So that was brilliant, because for the next... and before that, my nickname was Comedy Broken Back, so yeah, he didn't really talk about that too much after. But so anyway, that kept me insider tokens for about 2 months, so I was pretty impressed. So I decided, right, okay, there's definitely something in these products. So working with Forever, we set out a plan for this year, and this year, on averaging about 3 races a month, and that's including training, looking at all sorts of spectrum of races and events, was to see how far I could push my Comedy Broken Back, in with the products, in with good sleep, food, water, exercise, getting the right professional help when needed, to see what could be achieved. So we're now back into the full fitness side. So these are the products which I've vigorously tested this year. And when I say tested, I've just played around to see what sort of formulas of the products can support what sort of disciplines of events, training, intensity, and recovery as well. Now, before I carry on, just wanted to put this up. Now, the original material from this, I think, was from Mark Judd. Just wanted to say that. So thank you, Mark. But Stefan Schmidt, the guy at the bottom listed, he won the Hawaiian Ironman in 2010, and he was very impressed with RG+. So we're not just talking from a lay point of view, we're also talking from very, very important professional athletes worldwide. Okay, now I did mention before, there's some superb training courses which Forever offer, and it's highly important before going out and speaking about any of these products is to get yourselves on those courses and to keep going back on the courses, because there's always new information coming through the system. So RG Plus itself, this information which is taken as standard, and it's important at this stage to mention the HFL Sports Science and also the Cologne list, the 2 logos at the bottom. There are a selection of Forever products which feature on these 2 lists, and they're professional governing bodies as anti-doping for professional athletes. So please look further into the sort of marketing and support tools that Forever have in order to support you and your business in communicating the products. Now, as a summary for the Forever Freedom, this is pretty much why I wanted to start using Forever Freedom, specifically within my tool bag of food, sleep, water, exercise, naturally inspired supplements, getting the right professional support, and also the stretching, the training, and the right attitude. So, to this year, 2014, just check the time. 2014, so I did mention that you know, we've got some superb athletes and superb styles all over the world, so if people like to run on the road, that's brilliant. Now, when I was a very, very young, because I'm not that old, I'm only like 22 or something like that. What are you laughing at? So Daley Thompson, some of those of you that remember him, a decathlete, he was such an impressive chap. Not just being, he was a polymath. I love the whole concept of being a polymath and dipping into lots of different events and trying to be the best at everything. Now, that's a tall order. So I thought, well, come on, let's do it. Let's give it a go. So this year, running on the events themselves, we've combined, I say we, it's myself and my Comedy Broken Back, have combined sprint triathlon, Olympic distance triathlon, trail ultramarathon, road marathon carrying 30 pounds. We've got trail half marathons as well. There's a whole selection of events because normally there's a clinical, researched way of training event, post-event recovery, and then getting back on it for a type of event. But I wanted to mix it up. You know, I like to sort of rummage around and just see, as the introduction very kindly said, I just want to see what my body can do with the Forever supplements. So a particular event I wanted to highlight was on a business trip down to South Africa. And it was 3 weeks after I'd had an inguinal hernia repair, so it's in the groin. Effectively, there was a little hole there, and it had to be patched up. So I was told that I would have to possibly have up to 9 weeks, or 6 to 9 weeks, where the full recovery of the tissue and then getting back onto the training. So I was in South Africa, I woke up one morning, I was taking all my supplements, specifically, and decided, oh, I think I'll just pop up the cable car up to Table Mountain. You know, it's a beautiful place, let's see what it's all about. So I just put on my trainers and a few bits and pieces with me, a couple of apples as well, you know, because I was only going to be out for 3 or 4 hours. And it ended up that I got a taxi, ran up Table Mountain, down, up Lion's Head down, Signal Hill down, and then along to both capes as well, which totaled about 26 miles. And the reason I've highlighted this point is simply because I'm not recommending that anyone should do this, but for me, 3 weeks after having an operation in an area that absolutely is required to run that sort of terrain and that distance and time, I put it down to being dedicated on my training, on my preparation in terms of stretching and warming down, but very, very heavily on the Forever supplement or the naturally inspired supplement range that I was using. Now, there is a specific detail to highlight how I was using that, but today isn't the time for it. But it's more than welcome to ping me an email and I can quite happily send you that information. The most impressive thing was the following day, woke up, went down for breakfast, my legs felt fine, everything felt fine. I was very, very happy, a very happy bunny, because I was so scared the year before when I was told that I'd never be able to run again and I'd be in chronic pain. You know, I understood what managing chronic pain meant, and that would have been a debilitating slide of mental, emotional, and physical constitution. And I didn't want that to happen. So again, dream, plan, do, review, never give up. Just wanted to give you an insight to a particular training build-up week to an event. Now, there's lots of philosophies about training up to events, and it depends on the distances, depends on the type of events, depends on what's going on, and everything surrounding. But there was an event, a brand new event. It was a 10K trail speed race, and I thought, oh, you know, I'll go in for this. You know, I'm not a light guy. I weigh about 100 kilos. I'm not designed for speed. But you know what? The more people tell me that, the more it has to happen and be incorporated into what I'm doing. And it's purely down to the fact I have confidence on my tool bag, and the Forever naturally inspired supplement range and the sports mobility side gives me a huge confidence to be able to push and push and push the limits. Because limits, let's face it, they don't really exist. They're just a kind of a prefabricated idea. And then you can see that the week was pretty intense in terms of what I was doing on the training side. And then on the actual day itself, for the first time ever, because I'd never ever run any sort of civilian type races or events before I had my injury. It was all sort of up in the mountains or military style training and deployments. So for the first time ever, I won a race. And I was like, yeah, I couldn't believe it. It was ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. And on top of that, I broke the course record as well. So that was ace too. And so the message behind that is that the more we understand, the more we arm ourselves with knowledge, the more powerful we can become by delivering and communicating that knowledge to others. To inform and to educate is one of the most important things when we find something that's important, that we find something that works, and we can share that with others. And that was something, for me, that was one of the most important tasks throughout this year. My responsibility of feeding back to Forever, making sure I was properly using these products in a way that I was separating fact from fiction was very important. And as a result, there's quite a few people now that I speak with who are generating a huge amount of interest on a much higher level on athletics in terms of national and international representation. So I wouldn't be able to do that if I didn't actually get myself involved and understand more. So the courses that Forever offer are very important. Use the products yourself, be confident, step up that limit expectation, and if you want that apple, forget reaching that branch. It's the 3 branches above you want to aim for, and you'll always hit that apple. Now, 3 weeks after, this was in October, 3 weeks after running the Chester Marathon with 30 pounds on my back, which did in 4 hours, so that was quite funky. Because I'd never run a road marathon before, but it shows the confidence you have in your ability to train, to perform in the event, and to recover, and using the products and the training regime is superb. Went up Kilimanjaro. Now in 2006, had the absolute pleasure to take a bunch of Forever people up. There's Phil Pickles, Tracy Pickles, Adam May, Claire Cotton May, and I think I have forgotten some others. But all of you, yeah. And then this year, I took up another group up to Kilimanjaro, and for those people in Forever, here they are, the 4 guys that went up. So Craig Gillies, Lucy Stevens, Nick Garner, and Hannah Vimpany. And I have to say, I was very impressed, very, very impressed. For those of you who don't know, Hannah and Craig and Lucy all got to the top. Hannah woke up with a splitting headache, vomited soon after before we were about to do the summit attempt, vomited 5 times on the way to the top and still got to the top. And guess what? She was using the products and she is who she is. Craig Gillies as well, absolute superb, integral guy with so much support and kindness in terms of the group dynamics and being able to do what he did. And Lucy Stevens as well, cheeky little lady, kept everyone's morale up, but it was absolutely fantastic and thoroughly enjoyed it. So for next year, the Beyond bit. So, written to the Guinness Book of Records, and are going to be doing 14 Olympic distance triathlons in 14 days. I know 14 doesn't sound much. We've got all sorts of incredible people doing 53.53 marathons in the same days and 66 marathons, and that's all superb. But apparently no one's ever done this before, so I thought, give it a go. So that's next year, and also the Run Swim World Championships in Sweden as well. So those are 2 events that I'll be doing, amongst some other stuff as well. But the idea behind this, I would never, ever have set the goals I have unless I had the confidence in the Forever Sport and Mobility product range. So I think that's a very strong testimonial for you to take away and find out more about. And have confidence in yourself, combining with the products, and a holistic approach in terms of making sure that you are happy, healthy, and strong. And all I've got to say to end it is reset your goals. The more you understand, the more knowledge you build into yourself and pack into your toolbox, the better and more excited you'll be able to achieve further and more exciting goals. So please remember, take-home message, go as far as you can, and then go a little further. Thank you very much and happy Christmas.